What's up, guys? Welcome back to this channel. I pulled a legit all-nighter, and it really, honestly, it didn't seem like I got it a lot done, but I actually did get a decent amount done. First things first, the gear doors. It's not just as simple as putting on gear doors. The main gear doors up here are it's pretty simple just for these. These are the easier ones to do. But these ones here, okay, this is part of the oh, here it is right here. So basically, right here, there's holes right there. There's a slit right there, which accepts these right here. Okay, so this right here, it goes inside of here, like so. Okay. Okay, so basically that goes in there like that, and then these fold up like this, and these go in here like this, right? But this, they didn't already have this done. You actually have to do this part yourself, and it is labeled really well inside of the it is labeled real well in the directions on how to do it and how to do it right. So basically, you have to trace out this, okay, on here like a template. You have to trace it out, and you have to, and they show you right where to trace it on here. You don't want to cover that hole. You don't want to just, disturb that hole at all there, because that's part where the screw goes to hold down the cover, the retract cover. Okay, well, you actually have to trace it out, and then you have to take the Dremel and like you would for like a when you're putting in a new door, you have to chisel out the where the hinges go on the door. If you're making like a door frame from scratch and it's not prefabbed, so basically you have to trace it and then Dremel it out, and then you glue on this back piece right here. This actually comes in the kit, and it's in a bag with all the hinges. So basically what happens is this will go on right here, okay, to cover. This is your retract cover, okay. This will go right here, and the reason that you had to do that fabrication is because it's not done from the factory. So basically this slides into there. Well, it slides in this way, so it'll look like this when it's just about done. It'll look like that, okay. So you got it's hinged right there, okay. It'll actually be sitting real close, nice and close like that. So this took it took a little bit of time, because you don't want to cut too much out, because if you cut too much out, then you're obviously going to punch through the other side, and you're going to go through the monocoat and the top layer of wood from this side. So you have to be very careful that you don't Dremel out too much, and you have to make sure that you Dremel it out perfect too, because if it's not perfect, then it'll offset like this, or it'll be under like this. So you have to Dremel it out to the point where it's nice and even. Now also, before the final installation of this, you actually also have to cut out a groove right here to accept this hinge part, because you're not going to cut this part out up here to accept that hinge part. You're going to have to notch it out here. So right here, you'll have to notch that out just a little bit, just so that this hinge center point sits down in there a little bit. If not, it's going to be a little bit too long, and it's not going to match up here. You want to get it so that this corner, right, so this corner is going to be matched up perfectly when it gets right in the corner. If it's down here, it's not right. If it's way up here, it's not right. It has to be perfect. So in order to get it perfect, you have to notch this out in order for it to slide up in there perfectly. So yeah, kind of a pain in the bootski, but we got it done. It's finished. I'm just waiting for these to cure and set up a little more before I start doing any more cutting. And then those will set up here like this, and as you can see, there's some ball links there, and then there's also some ball links attached to the main gear here. And basically there are two, well, they look like control arms basically, and one connects to this side and one connects to that side, and you can actually adjust them so that way you can get it to be a perfect fit. So if it's too close, it's gonna sink down inside of this. When it's retracted, it'll actually like it'll be down, it'll sink in a little bit. So you want to get it just right to the point where that bad boy is sitting right perfectly flush. Another thing is let's see here. All right, so this is also another kind of a tricky part, but not so tricky. So basically you have to measure down a certain amount here. It's like three something, I can't remember. It's not very much, but basically you have to put this in there and just the right spot and just the right amount of distance down. This is the gear door like lip, so it catches the gear doors. And basically what that does is it doesn't allow for the gear door to sit there and flop around. It pulls it down tight to this, and once it's tight to this, then they're not going to flop around. If you do not put these in, then the gear door will sit there and flop while you're flying your plane, and it'll rub on the wheel and stuff. So you don't want that. That's why they put them in the kit. And then this side over here, this is the straight side right here. So you're going to do the same thing over here, right? Same exact thing over here, except that this one you actually have to measure and cut. And then once you cut it, you're going to cut it like right there at that corner. And then the rest of that piece, it goes right here. So you actually have to cut that yourself though. So they give you this straight piece. You got to make sure that the paint's off of it. You also have to make sure that the paint is off of this too. So this is silver paint right here, which doesn't bother me because I'm actually going to be painting this I can't think of the name of the color now, but it's a green color. It's the same color that's on the P40, the FMS P47 over there. It's got a certain name. I just can't think of it right now. Like I said, I have been up all night working on this. Everything is, as far as the gear doors are concerned, are ready. I got these are ready to go. So basically, I'll just show you real quick. Yep, this is this one. So let's see. Hold on one second, guys. Hold on one second. I'm gonna put this phone down just for a second, and then I'll get right back to you guys. All right, so like I said, I got the hinges on this side. I wanted to make sure that those dried first, and I always make sure there's a little bit of Vaseline over there. Always make sure that you put some Vaseline on these hinges before you put the glue on. The reason you want that Vaseline on there is because the glue will not penetrate through the Vaseline and get inside of your hinge joint and cause your hinge to bind up. Because I'm telling you right now, that's the last thing you guys want right now. Is for these hinges. You get them all in and then they're bound up. I ended up doing that the first time I redid the rudder on my Dynam 262. I accidentally hit it on something and it ripped the rudder off completely because it's just a foam hinge. So I ended up putting hinges in it, like pin hinges in the tail of the Dynam 262. And the first time I did it, I actually one of the top hinge, I wasn't careful enough, and I actually glued the thing straight. So I ended up having to break it and pull the hinge out and stick another one in. So it was kind of a pain in the ass, because once the bottom two dry, it's hard to pull it apart to get the hinge in there. So I had to use some skill to get it in there and take that broken one out. But nonetheless, just make sure you put some Vaseline. It's a very simple step. Put some Vaseline and be generous with it. It also helps a little bit to actually to liquefy it a little bit, melt it. That way it gets in there nicely. There's no pockets anywhere in that hinge where some glue can possibly seep in. But here it is, guys. This is the gear door. I haven't, like I said, it hasn't been glued yet, but it is ready for glue. But like I said, I gotta put those in first. I guess what they would call this is a catch lip. They have the proper name for it in the instructions, but basically that stays there so that when this comes down, it catches on that, and it doesn't allow this to go down any further. Because see, that will sink. It'll countersink, and you don't want that sitting there bouncing and wobbling, and it'll just sit there and rub and rub and rub on your wheel hub or whatever, which probably won't really hurt too much. But the fact that it's in the kit and it belongs there, and they obviously thought of that for a reason, maybe with some previous planes that they had done in the past, and they were like, oh, well, maybe we should do this so that it doesn't, this doesn't happen. So there's always a reason why these parts go into these planes, and it's such a simple step. Why not? But yeah, the gear doors are almost on. The tail gear, look at this, guys. Look at this. It is on. Look at that. Isn't that sweet? This one was a little bit more tricky, because you actually have to glue the panels to the side first, which means you have to get them in there just right, which is hard to do without having this gear door on and it's sitting. So what I did is I installed the gear door right to the panels. You can see the panel, I have it held there and taped. This right here, this whole part right here, right there is one big piece right here. From here all the way to there, it's one solid piece that these hinges go into. Again, that's one of those things that they didn't do at the manufacturer for whatever reason. Maybe it has to do with the fact that some people will just put a non-retractable tail wheel on the back of these planes, and if you do that, there's no sense of having the gear doors on there. So I see why they give you the choice. But this one is almost done drying. It's almost done drying, and it's in there as perfect as it's gonna get. It's in there the best it's gonna get. It basically want these sitting on this lip. There's a lip here, and that's what this sits on. So, and that's where it's sitting. So it's done in my book. So now what we have to do is install the rear retract, which is really simple. I mean, I just looked through the directions and checked it out. It's actually a really simple thing to do. And then let's see, that servo is actually coming out of there, and that servo is actually coming out as well. And those two servos right there, which are the 13 kilogram servos, are going to be my gear door servos. So once the gear doors are finished drying and they're in, then I got to flip this thing over. I got to flip this part of it over, and there's a part on the top that I have to cut out. Then I have to find the hole here for my control rod that comes up through. Then I have to start putting the control horn and finish putting the control horns on. I got to start going through and putting the cables in. The last 4 servos will either be here today or tomorrow. So I will have everything for this plane. My battery just came in, my new battery, my second battery, I should say. I've got actually 2 of those 2 of these batteries. I bought one, they had it in stock, and the other one is already in. They called me, Ray and Robin's Hobby. They're out of Falmouth, Maine. huge supporter of our flying field, our AMA field, and really nice guys over there. Check them out online, RayandRobinshobby.com and Falmouth, Maine. Check them out online. You might see something that you like. But yeah, guys, you could probably hear it in my voice that I have been up all night, and I am just dead to the wind right now. And before I go get some shut-eye, I'm actually gonna get in my truck. I got 2 batteries and 2 planes in my truck, and I'm gonna go fly the Dynam Focke-Wulf and my MiG. Yeah, so we're almost done, you guys. It's getting there. Things will be being permanently put back together here pretty soon. The gear doors on. Once the gear doors are on, this was actually the hardest part. Doing these. This is actually a little time consuming, more time consuming than you would think. But I just wanted to make sure that it was done right, because you could mess these up, and then you have to go buy another piece of ply and trace it out and cut it out. Then you have to find some. It would just be a pain in the ass if I messed it up. So I took my time with it. I made sure that none of the hinges got glue on them and bound up. So I made sure that everything was nice and taken care of and done right, so that you don't have to go back and do it a second time. But we're almost there, guys. We're almost there. Also, I have to put my control horns on the rudder here. I'm going to do that before I take off. I already pulled them out. They're sitting in there over there on the table. So I'm going to put those control horns on, and when I get back from flying, I'm probably going to go ahead and throw that retractable tail wheel in and finish buttoning down the rear end here, because this should be dry by then. But yeah, guys, that's all I have for now. We're getting there. Probably the next time you guys see the plane, the next time I do a video on the plane, it'll be a video showing you guys the gear doors working first off. And then the next video after that, this thing's actually going to be put together. The reason that I like this plane so much, and the reason that I bought this P51 in particular, is because the plane, when you put the body on this section of the wing, okay, this is the middle section of the wing, that screws on, and you never take that apart. That always stays together. That's why it has removable wingtips. So you can take the wingtips off, and instead of taking, so most planes you would have to take the entire wing assembly off of the fuselage. This plane is set up in a way in which you can always have this thing sitting on its gear like it's supposed to. At the same time, you can take off the wingtips to give yourself a little bit more space for whenever you're loading it up. So this part and that part are going to be connected together. Probably not next video, but the video after. So it's going to actually start looking like a P51, guys, instead of this pile of parts. But and then we're going to get the engine fired up. That's a big thing. Well, I'm going to go get my other battery and get some fuel and some 2-stroke oil, and we are going to get this thing cranked up and fired up. So that's it, guys. That's all I have for you. I'm tired. I can't believe really 18 minutes, 19 minutes. Holy shit. I just had a few things. I just really wanted to explain things out to you guys, so that way you get a good idea of how tedious everything I just did was. But we're done with this part. Once I glue these things on and I attach this bottom part's done, except for just connecting the control horns to the gear doors, and that's it. And then I got to put the control horns into the flaps, which is no big deal. It's easy breezy. That's super easy. So and then I got to put all the control rods on. That's the other thing. So running the cables when I get back, putting the wheel in, running the cables, and I got to get that fuel tank secured down. I guess that's it. Oh, my clunk line is a little too long in that tank. I actually have to take that thing out and trim down my clunk line about 5 inches because it's actually going in the tank and it's wrapping, it's snaking in the tank. I didn't think it would be that long, but it needs to be about this long, and it's like really long. It's like longer than it's supposed to be. So I actually have to take that tank apart and pull the clunk line out and make sure that it's just, you know, barely touching the back of the tank. Right now it's wrapped around the back of the tank and actually coming towards the front of the tank. So that's the other thing that I got to do. But we're getting there, guys. We're getting there. That's it. That's all I have for you guys. I'm tired. I'm going to go fly. And I'm going to come home and I'm going to take a nap. And then I'll get up and I'll start working on this thing again. That's it, guys. I'm Dave. This is Dave's RC. And we appreciate your views. Hit the like. Subscribe. Later, guys. Peace.